live.
We are live.
We're back again.
The
What,
Augmented Imagination Podcast.
dude, that's good. You got a good radio voice. I
Oh
guess it's
yeah,
a
yeah,
podcast voice nowadays, but
yeah, yeah. We talked about we need to do a jingle, right?
oh
I mean,
yeah.
at least use it once. I mean, it's or just switch it up
Yeah.
every time. It's so easy to do one.
No, dude, we've got to do a jingle. We've got to do um we've got like big plans and big ideas for like some more like production quality stuff we want to add to the podcast. But again, we wanted to just like get things rolling and sort of build in the open. But yeah, dude, jingle incoming, fun brand incoming. We've talked about doing some commercials, like having some fun, almost like commercial segments on the podcast,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
yeah, dude, will just be fun to sort of build. And again, I think I mentioned to you, I love Rick Rubin's podcast, Telegrammatron. But he does, it's just audio only, but he does like, he still has sponsors, but he does these commercials, but he makes them feel like old school, like radio commercials, and they're so
that's
rad.
cool.
But I would love for us to do something like that. We will at some point. And, when we do, we will also sort of take people behind the scenes, show them the process of coming up with it, show them like the tools we're using to build it. Yeah, dude, which I think is a perfect segue to what we wanted to talk about and feature today, because we're both working on essentially video pieces, commercials for the
Yeah,
projects we work on. You're working on a Crazy Souls commercial. I'm working on a sort of what is think high level, almost like animated infographic explainer piece. So yeah, I thought it would be cool to like just screen share, talk about the process a little bit, let people behind the curtain, and yeah, dude, talk through the stuff we're building.
but yeah, what we thought this is a good opportunity just to give you a little bit behind the scenes. I think we've done enough talking. We need to do more sharing.
Yeah,
So let's start with this.
All of us are unique. Our essence is an algorithm written by every choice we've ever made. Every word spoken, every door opened, every door closed. We are more than data. We are decision, rhythm, soul. But we handed it over willingly. Our intelligence, our instincts, our algorithm, copied, mined, monetized. When you use centralized AI, you're not just typing, you're training them. You're giving them your soul. If we truly understood what we were giving away, we never would have offered it up so easily. This is your intelligence. This is your essence. You were never meant to rent it. Don't sell your soul. Own your AI.
Everything starts with a story, and this is a storyboard that was generated by Jesse Bryan, who pretty much was the creator and the writer of the message that we were trying to convey, which is, AI doesn't belong to you. AI should be AI you own. You shouldn't be owned by AI. So how can we dramatize that, right? And the boards here were only these shots, right? It wasn't the full sequence. So you might see some similarities, right, between what's here and what's the end product. I had full liberty as far as like my relationship to the project, full liberty of creative freedom to really explore like I feel like the visual, this already sets the visual tone.
yep,
But I had the liberty to explore like, okay, how this is really going to look as kind of like a virtual director, right? Like I have a camera in my hands, I got the script, I got the vision from the creative director. How can I go in and just make it happen? And it all started with, now I'm gonna switch screens here because I don't want to dabble too much. I just want to show you guys. How
But
can I
dude, quick
switch
note, like
screen?
the way that
Yeah, yeah.
Jesse has implemented AI into his workflow as well, because like he's always been this sort of visionary idea guy, right? That comes up with the idea, and then typically he'd have to work with a number of artists to just to kind of bring the storyboards to life. But he's integrating, AI tools into his workflow. So he's like, I can just sort of build the mood boards myself, get a real sort of full stack creative direction brief ready, and then hand that off to us. So again, it's
Yeah.
like we're all just kind of adding these little pieces of the process that maybe weren't things we owned before, but kind of leveraging the new tools, building our own skill sets, and ultimately just being able to do more with less.
Exactly. And I think in episode one or two, we talked about the importance of having a belief statement, like what's your identity as a company. And this ad is a stem of what souls the product is, what it stands for, what it's trying to achieve. So just based off of that, it was easy to create a campaign, since the message was clear. AI should be owned by you. I believed as far as the writing process, I think that this was actually written by him, and then he used AI to kind of like assist him with like grammar and just fix typos and fix certain things. So and then ChatGPT helped him generate like these storyboards. So he's definitely taken advantage of the tools. So we didn't need to like hire a storyboard artist to hop on board. It did pretty well and really just giving us an idea and a direction of what we of direction we could take with this ad. So let me share my other screen over here. I have dun, dun. You see my Premiere
Yep, got it.
screen? Okay, great. Um, so let me zoom in on this story, this timeline over here. You're seeing a couple of gaps. This is V1, the first version of the Souls cut, and you see a bit of this track over here. Audio one is the voiceover. The voiceover that was I used 11 labs, and I had to audition through several voices to find the right one, right? So not only did I have to take the script and the storyboard, but I really had to like immerse in like what this really means and really try to imagine how this voice and the music is going to play out. So it could make the hunt and the auditioning easier for me as I look through these platforms. So I used 11 labs to generate the voices. I used and this stock audio subscription platform called Oop. I think it's called Oop, where I was able to find a couple of soundtracks that I liked, and and that in itself was like the it requires taste because you need to find the right one that's gonna work for the ad because this is everything. This is like the foundation of it all, and
Yep.
and as much as I love visuals, I also like I edit rhythmically and I move by like music, I move by like audio. So that's kind of like the first thing that I tackle first. So
Yeah, it's so good to have that. And like the piece I'll show, that you essentially like wrote the script for, created yeah, script, which we then recorded Mike doing a voiceover. But like starting with an audio track is so helpful because then you can sort of like hear that, imagine the visuals, figure out the timing. And again, dude, like we talked about in episode two, it's like the creative process is alive and well. People think that like they try to knock on like AI or AI artists that it's stealing like the creative process from creatives. Is like, no, it's not. There's so much creative process here. There's so many
Yeah.
so much breaking things down into pieces and then like building little ingredients and then composing them all together. Like it's the same process.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. It's if you want to be good at this sort of thing, you still have to put in the work. You still need to know, film techniques, editing techniques, audio techniques, because that's what's going on here, right? Taste aside, having all this experience does help, right? Like, so figuring out the right timing, right? For like, when does this bit right here that you see, where does it fit best in the audio? Um, and where do I fade? Where do I increase? And that sort of thing here. We can show you this. And also, what not only does it help me know, like, okay, where the story's gonna go, but how we're going to end the story. So I typically always prioritize that, like, how is this going to end? Because then if I have, for example, if I'm working on if I end up liking this like 3 minute like music track, but the ad is going to be 30 seconds, well, I need to turn that 3 minute track into like 30 seconds, right?
Mhm.
So either I get the tail end or of that original clip, or I figure out where's the best way to end. And I have to think of, like, okay, I have to think about copy, I have to think about like visuals, how what the punch is going to be, what's the call to action going to be. So I'm thinking about all those things as I'm editing. Thinking about transitions. I'm thinking about, okay, are we going to ramp up? Are we going to ramp down? Are we going to end on a high note, on a low note? Um, and I'm also thinking in layers, right? So there's not too much sound design, but just a bit, right? So if you go back to the original, we can go to, this is all assuming that you already saw, that you have previewed the, one second, oops, that you already previewed the ad. Um,
Yeah,
if
so
you
I guess
saw
some
that,
more context for people too. This is multiple iterations in for you, right, Sway? And you're sort of like had an initial pass. Some things weren't landing quite like you'd hoped, so you're trying to figure out ways to add extra emphasis to certain characters,
of
make the
course,
storyline come through more clearly, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah, and all this is a collaborative experience, right? So I'm not doing this alone per se. Um, Having an audio cut, it's a good starting point, and it's something that I could share with the team as just to get feedback from them. I was like, is this the vibe that we're going for? Does this sound like, it fits with the brand, it fits with the messaging. And once I get, the approvals, or the head nods, like, yeah, it does feel like it, then I can move forward with the visuals parts of this project. But this easily could take me, either, it all depends, right? It like could take me a day, it could take me 2 or 3. It could be like, hey, the
Yeah.
voiceover doesn't work, change it, or the track doesn't work, keep working on it. Um, so yeah, so one of the things that you learn is, like, sure, you have the creative freedom, but doesn't mean that everything, your first choice is the best choice. You come to
Yep.
realize that, well, you take certain feedback, like, okay, sure, I'll take it and see what I could discover and explore along the way. And you might discover something better, which is usually always the case.
Yeah, and just
So
understanding that it's like an iterative process, It's like get a
totally.
baseline down. It doesn't have to be perfect. That facilitates like the conversation for the next round. Be like, okay, we can ramp this up, we can pull this back, whatever it may be. But dude, like you were saying, maybe we should just like you should just let it kind of play and run through
Yeah.
once so people have some context and then you can like talk about some individual things from within it.
Yeah, sure. Sadly, I don't think you'll be able to hear audio. So let me turn that off here. Give me 1 second. And yep, let's play it. This is the first version, so you're gonna
Run
see
it.
something that you haven't seen before. And let me just make this bigger here and check it out. I guess we could talk over this too.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about like the process to build this way. So like you're building images in MidJourney first, is that right?
Yeah, there's this, I'm ideating in MidJourney, exploring MidJourney, trying to really land on that, the right look, right?
Hmm.
And then once because I'm starting from nothing. With this project, I started from nothing. It was just, there was this one image, which I don't have here, but there was this one image of inspiration that Jesse had, but that inspiration was more for like the effect of your soul being sucked,
Yep.
this was the inspiration for it, the result of that inspiration. But that only gave me like just an idea of where we can go. But I had to do all this exploration with MidJourney until I landed on a few bunch that I like. And then what I did is I took those images, and let me go quickly to MidJourney. I took those images and I end up creating a mood board. A
Yep.
mood board. So the mood board allowed me to create like a personalized style. Now that I
Yep.
had my style and had that mood board trained on specific images that I liked, it was much easier to generate inside MidJourney, with just simple basic prompts. Since it was feeding off, it was like pre-trained data, right? It's feeding
Yep.
off of that mood board. So I'll show you that real quick.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about like the mood boards is like you get your style set. So you build sort of like the overall look you want. That's kind of doing the production design. You sort of build that, a bunch of pieces, build a mood board in MidJourney, and then you don't have to like include the styling in your prompt every time, and it's way more consistent. But yeah, we figured out that like that's the process that works really well. And again, like MidJourney just has some of these key features like the mood boards that makes it work really well for that. But yeah, dude. Oh,
So
cool.
before we get into like the actual mood boards, I just want to do like a little scroll here of like I must have done I can count now, at least in Runway, because I also use Runway to animate these images, the images that were going to be part of the edit. I'm like over 1,000 clips, generated clips. So,
Yeah.
and I'm still like a third way done. Um, so
I
like
think that's one of the
thousands.
things people miss with like generative stuff too, like MidJourney. It's like it's not one and done. Like you have to
No, not at
produce
all.
literally hundreds of whatever you're doing and give yourself, as they like to say, like a bunch of slop to just sort of sort through. And then you just start to pick out the Easter eggs. But it's like the fact that it works at the speed of thought, like just make a bunch of shit and then go through and figure out what you like and pull the best stuff out of it.
Yeah. There's just on the first edit, I end up having like this extreme close up, like almost like a macro photography shot of an eye. I don't know if you guys caught it in this first edit of an eye opening up, and that inspired us. That served as a baseline, but that shot was replaced with a shot of a robot eye, which was kind of like a nod to OpenAI's like eyeballs
Hmm.
scanning eyeball. So then I started, I took that inspiration and started messing around. Like, okay, how can that robot eye look like, right? So I'm going through several iterations. It's like trying to find the one that fits, right? So here's that a little bit of that process, and with MidJourney, I'm going back and forth with Runway, since Runway's reference is character reference and like environment reference and all. It does a pretty good job. So I can literally generate something. I can generate a face, or I can generate an object like this inside MidJourney, and just take it over to Runway and just create even more iterations in different shot styles. So close up, wide shots, extreme shots, or wherever. So, and the fidelity,
Awesome.
you can see the fidelity is there. Um, so yeah, like, so again, like that, I'm trying to go for that dystopian 1984 feel.
Yep.
And you can see here, like I did like an edit, try to really land on like, okay, this is not the right shot. This is not what I want. This is not what I want. And yeah, so it's just like a lot of back and forth. And all these shots are awesome, and like nothing goes to waste, because since we're essentially launching a Souls ad campaign, there's so much material now here to pick from,
Oh yeah.
and going back to the mood board, right? And the mood board is there. Even Jesse, like I shared with Jesse, like the mood board code. Like, Jesse, go have a ball, like generate like crazy and use
Yep.
whatever you want, because like obviously you're creative directing this, but you know everything has been set and prepped for you. So like if you think
Yep.
like an art director, I was like, yeah, and you have people that you're working with, a team that you're working with, you can set this up for them, just like how I did here in my personalized mood boards. I have a Souls ad, a Souls glow, which for the soul section, and the Soul suck. The Soul suck has the actual the main inspiration. This is a shot
The
I didn't have.
essence being pulled out.
The essence is being like pulled out, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to pull this like motion blur effect using AI. So we end up like committing to just like more like a steam coming out of
Hmm.
you, being sucked out of you. And so you probably recognize these shots from like the video.
Yep.
Um, and these were actually I end up doing in Photoshop, like because I was having such a hard time achieving it in using AI. I had to go take a normal image of these people. I think they're not here. Um, and just using like a smear effect
Like a
on
warp
these
tool.
faces.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so I did that like on Photoshop and ended up taking it right back into MidJourney to train on. Like I want
Yep.
you to do this,
Yep.
And I also started messing with Sora as well. So I generated stuff in Sora, brought it to MidJourney, generated stuff in MidJourney, took it to Runway, generated stuff with Runway, took it to Sora. So it's like, you know,
Yeah, dude. Again, process. It's like, okay, I got to download this. I got to modify it in Photoshop because it gives me the controls I want. And then I re-input it back into MidJourney, and then you can train more off that. So yeah, I know we both do a lot of that where it's like, don't get, if you're not getting exactly what you want, like download that, modify it, re-upload it, model, basically train a model off of that or a mood board off of that. So it's like, yeah, dude, still just so much process, so much back and forth and having to like work through the kinks and refine things as you go.
yeah, yeah. But I'm very happy with the results. And going back again, if you're an art director, creative art director, this is like the Midjourney's mood board. It's like such a tool, powerful tool that you should be using. Um, so for example, I can literally write anything right now, and I've used this example before. So let's go ahead and real quick say I want to use this mood board prompt style, right? With this prompt, say toilet in forest, night, right? So it would literally take that prompt and add
It's gonna have
that
the same
tone,
look.
the
Yeah.
style, the same look on like a 1984 toilet somewhere in
Yeah.
the middle of nowhere.
The
So
the dark throne.
right,
Yeah,
look at
dude,
that.
look at that.
So like that's awesome. That's cool.
That's
Like
pretty sweet.
I
You
can
gotta work
literally
that
take
in.
that mood board and just create like I could fork it and just create something else, and and
Yeah.
it echoes the style.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Just imagine, right? So from like going back from like starting with the script, having some sort of direction with already the boards, leading to like, okay, I need a voiceover, audition voices, have a voice cut, audition music, have a music cut, pair that with VO, start my my imagery training using all these tools that I mentioned, Sora, Runway, Midjourney, and more. Land on something, create a mood board, and then really start committing to like shots that will complement the story. Um, and that's just halfway get halfway through this whole process, because now I need to like animate them, right, and like try to get the missed shot right, try
Yep.
to land like I don't think this is going to be in the original shot, but this shot was an inspiration. Although we didn't use it, it was an inspiration to like, what, we should have a looming robot eye, very 1984, just
Yep.
like peering down, looking down at the people. um
Yeah, even if it's not the thing, it might lead you to, the right solution.
exactly, exactly. And there's so many shots that I didn't use, but that served as inspiration.
So you're going
That's
MidJourney, doing some modifying Photoshop or whatever, but then you're doing your actual sort of bringing them into motion in Runway.
in Runway. Yeah.
Yep.
I the time that we started Souls ad was the time where VO3 was announced. So we quickly hopped on that. We got a subscription for Flow, and let me switch to that so I can show you. So this is VO3, right? So I think VO3 is about a week or two old now, and I wasn't
So
having, I wasn't,
ancient in AI land.
yeah, ancient, right, right. And by the time you see this is like history.
Yeah.
Um, um, I wasn't getting the best results, although like you can literally produce like crazy stuff inside, like text to video in Flow. But when it came to like image to video, I wasn't really happy with it.
Yeah.
It did feel like a slot machine, and I was just too credit conscious heavy. Like I was trying to like
Yeah.
not iterate too much, where to the point where
Dude,
I do land on something, but I don't have enough credits to
I
continue.
find that's true with like when somebody ships like a new model or a new version that it might be like better quality or whatever it is, but they don't have all the sort of functionality and control built in as the previous models. Like MidJourney does the same thing. So actually, a lot of the
Yeah.
time, I'll end up defaulting back to like, you know, previous models because it feels like, yeah, there's some sort of improvement, but then they also break a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and one of the things that I wasn't too happy with VO3 is that it will charge me but not give me anything. So like,
Oh, that's not
cool, you
cool.
you you owe me money.
Yeah, I think they owe us
Um,
all money.
yeah, they do. They do. You guys literally have a piece of my soul. Uh, so just started. But again, this was although I don't think I used one shot
Yeah, I don't
from
remember seeing
Flow.
that.
Um,
Cool shot though.
but it was definitely served again as inspiration. I think some AI companies try to like solve that problem, like where they right like where you I think Adobe does this, their Firefly, where they when you try to generate something, they'll generate it in low quality to save you like compute
Yeah,
credits.
yeah,
And then if you like it, want to commit to it, then you upscale and then get charged even more. Um, but yeah, that's kind of hard to do with video, right?
yeah, totally.
But these guys they just announced that they announced right now. Let's see what they have here. As of now, they have a fast version which wasn't available a week ago. It was just VO3 quality, which was like
Mhm.
100 credits.
Yeah,
100 credits, which is
jeez.
insane. Now this, I'm not too sure how much credits this is, whether it's 20 or 10. I don't remember. But yeah, this was just announced like 2 days ago. So I haven't really messed with that. I've been like more heads down, focused on tools that I have already locked in.
Yep.
So yeah. So
Yeah,
what was so now what led me to the edit that you see now, um, hopefully on X, is was an edit inspired by the feedback that I received by Brian McDonald and Jesse and Mikey. So I showed them that first cut that I just showed you guys, and then I shared with them like some blockers that I had and things I wanted to figure out, and how in the original cut I had the girl, but she was wearing black. I really wanted her to stand out. I thought the pigtails was gonna be the thing that made her stood out, but one of the issues was that not really, because we start off with a crowd. If you add her there, she's just part of the crowd. So I really
Yep.
needed to like, yeah, I guess that's why like Apple's 1984 did it right. I had and why that Hooters hero character is like stands out so much, because she's dressed different. She is different. So this is where I was like, okay, I gotta make my main character with a white shirt to say like,
Yep.
hey, tell the
Made
audience,
all
pay
the
attention to
difference.
this.
Yep.
This person is different, right?
You have to
And
increase the contrast, right? Just so it makes it land with people right away.
exactly. How do you do that? You do that well with wardrobe. You do that with how the person looks. And I got several ideas, right? I could have either not keep the Caucasian girl, could have made her black, Asian, but I also had to kind of like balance that out throughout like the whole edit. I could have changed the hairstyle, made it blue, or changed the shirt. You know, there's many ways to go about it. I decided to go with the shirt, right? And then kind of like I had to go back. I'm like, yeah, let me add a little bit more like diversity to this. So like, you know, African American, Asian, and that sort of thing. So a lot of similar shots from the original. And then here's where we land with I'm gonna
Robot
let play
eye.
and not talk too much. Let me turn off the audio because that kind of bothers me when I'm trying to explain. Girl looking up. We have the eye opening. A
Love
shot
that
there.
shot.
I think that's the
Yeah.
only shot I got from VO. From VO. Like VO was able to pull that out for me. So I was very happy with that, right? Then this shot, I don't know if I'm gonna keep it on like how it looks. Yeah, so right now just
Great,
like
dude.
reordering things and just trying to make these shots land in the right place. And of course, I mean, if I would have had like a storyboard that was like, yeah, this shot goes here, this shot goes there, very specific, probably would have been a different story. But I highly appreciate this where there's more creative controls, and I'm kind of like breaking my skull a little bit more and discovering things that eventually will help. Because one of the things that has benefit, and I'll stop sharing. One of the things that has benefit the team. How do I stop? Has been like, as I've been exploring and figuring out what works for this kind of project, all of this kind of like carries over to the other things that we're doing with the studio and other future like video work, and I'm able to relay the message and the story to others, like, hey, this is working for me. Save yourself the headaches, save yourself the mistakes, give this a try, and that way you can accelerate and move faster, right? Because I'm thinking not just me doing this all by myself again. I'm like, okay, how can I, figure out the pipeline, figure out the workflow, the production order that could make a team more effective, right? Maybe if I would have had an extra animator, an extra editor, or a music composer, it's like, now everyone will know their place and where they can contribute with their skills. So
Yep.
yeah, it's a fun process. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is like, it's we're inventing this stuff, right? Because all of this stuff
Totally.
is new. So nobody has like, this is the right, workflow. This is the way to do it. It's like, no, everybody's just out here experimenting, figuring things out. I mean, you're super good about staying just kind of like tapped into the community and seeing what other artists are do, because that stuff's invaluable. But yeah, dude, it's a fun time as all of these things are, sort of still maturing and becoming what they will ultimately be, to be like, okay, we can use it this way. We can sort of use this little tweak over here. And, 2 years from now, it'll look very different. But
Very.
I love being involved with this stuff early on and being like, figuring out how to use these tools.
Just yesterday, Runway announced, yesterday or the day before yesterday, they announced a, I'll share the screen. Since I'm part of their creator program, I get access to like beta tools, and they just announced their chat mode, which is an interface that's on top of their image and video model. So I can literally start generating images and video in a chat format, and then decide, okay, let's enter the studio version of this, right? So let's say, I want a cat that's dressed like a wizard.
Of course you do.
Yeah. I'm set to unlimited, so this might take a while. But this also points to like how valuable still it is, like how much, how could I put this, how important it is, like creating conversationally. I don't know if that's a way to put it, way to put it is,
No, that makes sense.
creating conversationally. Yeah,
Yep.
that's been like a thing, right? And
Yeah, and
people
that's
are
like
doing
a
it in
huge,
ChatGPT, right?
yeah, dude, that's massive now, That's such an important skill set, and it doesn't come naturally to everybody to one, be able to like visualize something, but then two, know how to describe what you want to visualize. There's your wizard cat. I
There's
mean,
my wizard.
he looks pretty dope.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. I can click on it and get a little, a little surprise. Like, oh, what is that fur
He's got a
ball
little fur
there
ball
and a
there.
tail? That's awesome. That's awesome. So yes, it's very interactive. That's kind of cool. I dig that. So it feels like you're not alone in this whole creative process. Then from there, I can download the image. I can like it. So that I guess that'll either serve the algorithm, your personal algorithm, or just like it in your assets. Then I could go further and decide, hey, I want to take this image and say, make the wizard cat float. So this is something that we already see inside like ChatGPT. I don't know if you could do videos inside ChatGPT. I think you can. But also, and Sora has a very similar. Most of these chat boxes are becoming very conversational, right? Mm-hmm. So the whole thing where you need to prompt engineer in a very structural, almost like, and it made sense, right? Because it was like literally engineers building the things. But since now there's like more creative artist minds involved in the process of like building, like, yeah, like creating an image, a video should be like done in plain English and fun, and AI should understand me more and more as we create together, right? And my style of directing and instructing, so yeah, this is a really cool feature. I don't know if it's going to remain or stay in Runway, so that's why it's still a beta. But if I wanted
it's
to,
interesting how they went from these like pro level sort of creative tools that offer all this control, and now they're almost like sort of back engineering and having this like super kind of intro, cut and dry, just like simple chat interface. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Again, it's interesting to see how products are developing now and like what are the use cases for all the different sort of interfaces we're coming up with.
yeah, yeah, and all this stuff and all the experience and just it benefits us as tool builders as well, because our goal is again to just empower creators, augment them, help them augment, and just make these tools more human and fun to play with, right? Mm-hmm. So we take these tools like, okay, what do we like, what we don't like? Here's a cat, not floating, but definitely powering up there. Hey, there, right?
You went Super Saiyan, dude.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it knows I've been watching the show.
Probably does.
All right.
Cool, man.
So,
love it.
Yeah. If we haven't launched already, I guess we can announce it here. We're going to be doing more of this, and hopefully in a more workshop structured, better structured way.
Yep.
So, can't wait for people to participate and learn along with us.
Yep. Again, this is all kind of research for what we've got coming down the pipeline. Cool. Well, I'll share the video I'm working on. Do you have my Illustrator now?
I see it.
So yeah, again, Sway's working on a Souls commercial. I'm working on sort of I will call it an animated infographic, like an explainer overview for Think, the ecosystem overall. Like the goal is eventually this will kind of live on the homepage of thinkagents.ai. This will be sort of our pinned tweet. If somebody wants to know more about the ecosystem and what we're building, like I want this to be the video you can watch and be like, okay, I get it. Like a quick 90-second thing. Again, just like really high level explainer. And that's why with this one, we wanted to make it more of like an animated infographic, because we really wanted to like showcase all of these different concepts in a really simple way. And like sometimes that can be a little bit harder to do with like AI. You want it to be almost this like animated, again, infographic or like deck. So that's what this is. And these are essentially the storyboards I'm building. So the process leading up to this was like, we have an agent sort of knowledge base trained up on the Think ecosystem, the protocol, the agent standard, all of that good stuff. You basically whittled it down to like a 90-second roughly script, right, Sway?
Yeah.
Just kind of hitting all the main notes. And then we had Alan record Mike essentially doing a voiceover for it. So you guys did that. You provide me with the script essentially, which you'll see in the pink here. Like I have the kind of timing beats laid out, but then the copy that goes with it. So it starts out with what if AI wasn't something you rent from them, but something you own? Again, like our armature, it's the same as souls, right? We're saying the exact same thing. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where it starts out. Again, I wanted to allude to, but not totally just like have the open AI logo, but I
Yeah,
essentially took
yeah, I
their
was gonna
like
say, I
motif.
see it.
um, so, right, what if AI wasn't something you rent from them, but something you own? This thing kind of starts to like spiral out, zoom out. You see the
So
think
cool.
tokens start to fade in. You see the brain fist come in. Um, and then the type locks up, our cool little
Yeah.
radiating lines come in. So at 4 seconds in, think is a decentralized AI protocol. So this is how I build these storyboards. It's basically like having a frame or two for every second.
Yeah.
So it's like quite an intensive process, but making it really simple for animation, which again, our buddy Yvonne is going to be animating this. So just trying to like lay out the artwork, lay out all the keyframes, and then he just adds motion in between. So again, sort of hero shot moment. The new standard, we kind of zoom into the brain fist for building. When we zoom in, it does sort of a wipe, and then we're almost in like we're in the digital realm, right? We're in Tron now, so it changes up a
Yeah.
little bit from the flat graphics to this style again that we developed in MidJourney. You
Yeah.
came up with a mood board code, a style reference code, so that we can just sort of prompt whatever we want and have stuff that lives in that world. Again, creating that as an ingredient, downloading it, modifying it, applying our colors to it. But Think is the new standard for building, owning, and evolving intelligent agents. So with these, I'm essentially trying to create some sort of visual to help sort of clarify whatever's happening in the voiceover, right? Just make this to where people, again, you watch it in 90 seconds, you're like, oh shit, okay, I get it. Um, they're on chain and under your control. So we show a cool blockchain, and again, we'll like add little light animations and just cool little touches to this stuff to bring it
Ooh.
to life. At the heart of it, we start to see essentially our little think agent come in. Um, and this has been really fun too. I'll
I
sort of
love the spark there.
segue for a second. Yeah, I want this little dude to like feel alive and have expression. So this is like a subset of the animation where I'm figuring out like how to make this guy blink, how to do simple little mouth movement, right? How to have some different expressions. And these are all modeled after like what you see in emojis. But
Yeah.
creating all these different frames so that we can just create like a loop of the little animated agent guy and his face. So it's a non-fungible intelligence, not just a digital asset. It's your personal AI. So this is kind of like you see his face kind of doing the thing. He's going to do a cool little spinny around thing. It'll reveal almost like a fingerprint, thumbprint on the backside. It'll come in
I
like
love
that
that.
will activate. You'll see this cool
Like
like unlock feature.
pulsating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we come back to this, our agent, it learns from your world. So over here, we've got like settings, folders, data, cursor comes in, kind of drag and drop, uh, a document onto the agent here. It learns from your world. It adapts to your needs. So text box comes up, starts to type out summarize file. You see him transform. This kind of document gets summarized. Again, his little face will be there. And then the chat box changes, email summary to marketing team. hit send, he transforms. He's now got a little email icon, and then he goes flying off. So again, just trying to show these sequences that like very simply and quickly visualize what we're talking about
Yeah.
and what the capabilities of Think will be. Um, every agent has three core parts: a soul, which is your on-chain identity. So we have sort of the basic inspired artwork that'll be animated. A mind, which is your intelligence engine running on a computer of your choice. The brain fist, right? Like proof of inference. This is what we've been building since like 6079 days. And then a body, which is your interface with the world. And again, this little agent icon, Vitruvian agent, as if you will, that I worked up a while ago, and we've been using to sort of represent agents in the body. And then basically you see these three kind of merge together, and then the little agent forms over one, just kind of showing that these three parts make up the agent.
Yeah.
Still working through some sequences here, so some are more done than others. This one will talk about your agent is composable, and essentially you'll be able to add new skills, logic, and tools. So I still got to figure out that sequence. Next sequence will essentially just be talking about it's fully owned by you, the memory, the data, the behavior. It stays in your hands. So just showing like, right, this is our big differentiating sales factor. Chat logs, personal info, account access, training data, personal IP, project files, all stay within your ownership. That doesn't get uploaded to OpenAI's super intelligence, right? Where they're just like, yoink, that's ours now. Like you can still own your personal data and create an agent that's trained on your personal data. So just trying to showcase that like that goes onto your hard drive. You can lock that. And also your agent is sovereign, anchored to your identity, protected by your keys. So a little wallet comes in, basically locks this guy down. We see somebody's, passphrase being typed out there. Transition to the next sequence. They can't own you. They can't own your mind or your soul. Brain fist comes in, kind of breaks out the
Boom.
chains. Yep. And again,
Kool-Aid,
it's just
Kool-Aid
like,
Man style, huh?
yeah, straight up, dude. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And just some cool transitions. Behind all this is the think protocol. So the brain fist fades out, the word mark fades in, and then we sort of zoom into
Yeah.
that. And this is where my sort of director kind of mind comes in. Like I've done a bunch of these like kind of animated infographics, and it's all about figuring out these cool transitions to take you from sort of one space to the next.
Yeah.
So we'll zoom in, you'll get sort of a gradient wipe, and then that'll start to fade away. And then you'll see all of these agents sort of like building from left to right. And it'll talk about it connects tools, compute, and marketplaces into one composable ecosystem. So builds out, you see the little tool icon again, sort of pulsating. Keep panning over, agents build. You see the compute icon pulsating. Build over, you see the marketplace icon pulsating, and then we kind of stop there. We zoom into that, and then that transitions to the Think token. Here's where we'll actually bring in our 3D assets. We've got some really cool Think sort of 3D assets that we worked on with our buddy Andy Mayer, and Yvonne has also helped out with this stuff. But once we start talking about the token, everything becomes 3D. So it'll become like more sort of more tangible and feel more real. Again, this will be sort of the spinning 3D coin. And then it'll talk about it's used to activate agents. So you'll see these falling coins falling in front of our little agent. Incubate projects, reward contribution, bring in the Thinkubator logo, empower the network's future, bring in the Souls animation, and all the while these coins are just kind of falling. We do a wipe with the Souls logo animation, and then that brings us to the sort of final sequence. With Think, intelligence is no longer locked in a black box. It's open, tokenized, and owned by you. So
it.
for this sequence, dude, I was totally imagining the first Matrix in the hallway where Neo's having the standoff with the agent, and he finally becomes like the one, and then he zooms into the agent, and like you see the light like breaking out, and then he just shatters. So yeah, dude, cool. Totally channeling that here.
Damn.
But then that will be sort of the final sequence. So
Ah, that's great. How
yeah,
long
dude.
this took you to figure out?
Oh man, I've been, as you know, we've been plugging away on this one for a couple weeks now. Um, but I don't even know how many hours I have into these storyboards. Quite a few. But again,
Yeah.
like it's when you're
You
work.
already had some assets already. You have some
Yep.
3D assets, you know, the think assets
Yep.
and soul stuff. That was already there. So you weren't
Yep.
starting from scratch, but
Yep. So we
definitely
had
that
a
whole
bunch of stuff
sequence
to
had
work
to,
with. Yeah.
yeah.
But again, when I stepped back and I thought about it, I was like, dude, this is like the front door to the ecosystem. So this video's got to be right. And it's got to be to where, again, people take in this like 90-second video and then they can walk away being like, okay, I get it. So that was
Yeah.
really the goal. And I think with like all of our combined efforts, we'll get something really good. But yeah, I think it'll be a very valuable asset to the brand. But yeah, dude, some of this stuff, like you just got to keep refining and refining and refining until it gets there. And like this is, as you can see, like I've still got a couple sequences I have to figure
Yeah.
out, but it's getting close now.
So I want to ask you a question because
Yeah.
this sequence, this animation sequence is insane. I love how because you're not only taking like a designer approach, you're also thinking like a creative director, and you're making decisions, right, of how this thing is going to flow. You're thinking 3D space, right? Things coming in left to right, you know, from the Z-axis and stuff, and all this, you know, helps an animator, right? Like it relieves them.
Yeah.
Like they don't have to like come up with anything other than just help the story. You can just bring that to life. So you kind of like architect the whole thing,
Yep.
and the animator is kind of more like an engineer and just seeing what's actually possible, right?
Yep.
But I think everything, and we've mentioned this throughout this whole episode, is like everything starts with a story. And since this team is so like story driven, does that help you with the process? Because the script was already like that was the first thing, right? And we
Yep.
were trying to approach this very differently. Like it wasn't gonna be that. We thought it was gonna be more like lo-fi, very subtle animation. Then we switched. Like no, it should be like Mikey showing his face, more of Mikey. But then we're like no, then we committed to your idea, where we thought like no, this is you made the decision and you said this is going to be our hero video. This is going to be like the explainer video to like what think is, what it does, what it means, and what it stands for. Now,
Yep.
going back to my question, like since story is first, right? No pun intended. Story is first, right? Does this help you with that process?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Like that ultimately is as Jesse likes to say, like that's the core logic and that's the filter you run everything through. So just knowing that gives you clear direction, but it also like I think it liberates all of us to just like trust our instinct and be like, okay, I'm going with this because this feels like it's right to the story. Like that sort of, we put more emphasis on that than it like, it needs so and so's approval or it needs, right? And
Right.
that's like the thing I love about the team and the way we're sort of building things is like, there's not a bunch of like oversight. And, I may have already said this and I'm sure we'll say it again many times, but like, we approach it like we're an uh, improvisational jazz band. And it's like,
Yeah.
just you start playing and then I'll come in and then somebody's going to come in on solo on top of it. And then we'll fade
Yeah.
back in over here. But yeah, dude, like working that way and seeing like how much work we're able to get done, how good the work is, and how sort of effortless it feels compared to, like a traditional agency setting. Like you would have to like, I would have had to been presenting every sequence for weeks and weeks and getting buy off and then like things get watered down or whatever it may be and somebody else wants to put their thumbprint on it. Like
Yeah.
it's just not efficient, and the amount of sort of trust we all have in each other allows us to just kind of run and be like, okay, send it. And that's one of the things I've always loved about working with Jesse as a creative director. Like he's got the initial idea, he's got the initial spark, he'll sort of lay out a vision for that. But after that, it's like gives you full ownership. He's like, just do it,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, love it.
Agree to all of that.
Yep.
And, just to support everything you said, everything started with the story, everything started with the script.
Yep.
And I was the first one to generate the script, to have like the first version of it. And knowing that this was going to be a collaborative experience, knowing that I was like, hey, I'm gonna need my Mikey and Jesse and everyone to kind of like chime in since they know the product, like they literally birthed the product. But I need them to like fix the right wording, make it leaner if possible, because we wanted the script to be like lean, to have its purpose, to like execute and actually, you know, give you the information that you need to just encourage you to like go on the website, search for more, like be interested, and that was the goal, right? So I just wanted to show you a script that we generated with using AI, and the way that I did that was we already had AI trained on like the Think ecosystem, trained on like the Soul technology, trained on like previous jobs that we've done with this sort of like animation.
Yeah, having
And
like a
then
knowledge base agent is like so helpful. It's like one of
totally.
the most powerful use cases for AI.
And at least for the first step, it relieved us from like starting from scratch, right?
Yep.
So literally, this is probably like it took me like maybe four tries to like land on a decent script. And then I just went in like now just started changing the wording, changing the format until I landed on something that I was like more or less happy with, good enough to share with the team where they can go in like via Google and start finessing and correcting and stuff.
Yep.
Then from there we end up doing the first audio version of this was like wasn't Mikey. It was like the British voice that we all love and hate
Yeah.
now. You know, so we started with that, and we started with like a totally different, you know, soundtrack, and but that was the beginning of it, and which led us to the video that you probably
Yep.
already saw. You know.
Yep. And again, it's just like iterations, you know, like, okay, that wasn't quite right, but like we got something out of that. So like, let's take that into the next version. So you still have to just like tease stuff out. Again, like creative process is like not
Totally.
dead. It's a big part of
Yeah.
everything. So
And it's work, right? AI does
yeah.
make the work easier, but you're still putting in work. I mean, I still had
Yeah.
to put hours and hours, and just for it to like, no, this is not it. Like, all right,
Yeah. Yeah,
cool.
dude. I mean, I'm
Let's
sure
try
both
again.
of us have been pulling late nights and early mornings. I feel like my
Yeah,
eyes are showing that right now. It's been a crazy week, but yeah.
yeah, it's been nuts. It's been nuts.
Sweet man. Well, that was great. A good I
Yeah,
think like a different flavor episode. But again, this is like some of the stuff we want to do and we want to feature, like actually bring people in, like open up, you know, my Illustrator artboards, your Premiere
yeah,
file, and just like show what's going on behind the scenes. And like as we're doing that, kind of talk about the process and, you know, the sort of filters we're running our decision making through.
yeah, yeah. We're literally operating like an agency slash production company slash ad
Startup
agency. So
slash,
like
yeah.
slash startup slash like
Yeah.
yeah, everything.
Yeah.
And there's certain things that, as you can see, like AI can't do. Like it won't be able to edit the way I edit. It won't be able to design the way that you design. I mean, it's impossible to get those, you know, those kind of like graphics that you're making. Like very impossible, unreliable, and so people like, you know, Yvonne, who's a mad scientist when it comes to like animation, like and AI. Those kind of people and creators are still valuable, you know, and
Oh yeah.
they're
100%.
operating on top of their game because they're embracing the technology, right?
Yep.
So
Augment augment that skill
augmenting,
set.
augmenting, and we still get to operate with a skeleton crew, very nimble, fast, small team, and if we keep this up, you know, smaller team, the more profits everyone gets when there's
Yeah.
profit.
Yep. Absolutely. Sweet. Well, yeah, dude, great episode. I think that's a great place to wrap it up. Hope everybody enjoyed. And if you do, let us know. And again, we've got some things in the works, which we'll be announcing soon or based on when we release this or maybe already announced. But if you want to learn more about AI filmmaking, then stay tuned because we've got some cool stuff coming up.
Absolutely.
Right on. Cool.
Thanks for
Thanks,
tuning
everybody.
in.
Peace.
Peace.